Yes. Hi, I'm dancing. Want to know why I'm dancing? Because I don't like when I don't have time to prepare for our meditations. And I just asked my beautiful friend, Kristen, what she wanted to talk about tonight, because apparently that's what we do sometimes. We just go on the fly. Billy says he can't find the Zoom. Oh, how do I multitask like this?
Who can't find the Zoom?
Billy can't find the Zoom. It's the same Zoom every week. He can't find it. I don't know what that means.
I'll text it to him.
You have his text. Okay, good. So anyway.
It's in the group text for the...
Oh, good. Yes. So Kristen said that she wants to talk about protection this week, and she's meaning psychic protection, correct? Yes, she's concentrating now on both things as well. Multitasking all the time. So welcome to Sunday, our meditation for global healing. And as always, thank you for being part of it, part of the solution to our anguish, part of our solution. Every time you touch base with yourself and you meditate, hey Mary, you're doing a service for all of us. So just as a reminder, we really appreciate that you join us Sunday nights, particularly. Hey Jessie. So tonight we're going to talk and delve into a little bit about psychic protection. It's a very vast topic, as most energy topics are, but we'll go over a few techniques just off the fly. Off the fly, off the cuff, on the fly, off the cuff. There we go, got it. Sometimes that happens. So maybe you've been feeling, well, Kristen, can I talk to you for a second?
I'm here.
That's okay, cool. So is there a particular thing that's been bothering you?
I really haven't been, I've been feeling things way harsher than normal.
Okay.
And
so maybe you see it in like your reactions to things as well?
Yep.
Okay, so even people that aren't really natural empaths, I don't know if that's really how I should say it, but maybe they're just not naturally intuitive, or they don't feel like they're open to that, whatever the case may be, because everybody has it, just some people are more like, more there with it. So Kristen, she is very aware of her empath side, and because of that, like we've been talking about this whole time during pandemic, I can't believe it's like an era now, like it's the pandemic era, that empaths particularly are going to be like, heightened sensitivity, maybe feeling things just more than normal, and the way that you would see that, one of the ways is you're overreacting. And now this is very subjective, we can say. However, not necessarily the case. You can pretty much feel when you're overreacting to something. You suddenly feel perhaps a little childish, a little embarrassed. What are the other ways that you might feel with it? Silly, maybe out of control.
Almost surly.
Yeah, surly, of course. Like, when you get like angry with it and you're just like,
It's super defensive.
Super defensive. That's a good sign of it too. And that's actually like a really good thing to bring awareness to. So plenty of adults really actually lack this type of awareness, which is fascinating. Hey, Billy, so glad you can make us. And I say this because, I have 2 little kids, and I'm definitely not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But I am always kind of like proud of when they have this emotional awareness. I call it your emotional IQ. And they come to me and they'll say something like, Mommy, Bella was trying to do something one morning before school, and she said, Mommy, I'm feeling overwhelmed. There's too many things going on right now. Daddy's on the phone. The TV is on. And she just named like 4 things that were stimulating her too much. And I was like, wow, like she's 6. And so many people can't do that in their 30s and on even. Like they don't know why they're having these feelings or sensations, and they just get a little out of it. So I see this a lot when my clients come in. They come like rushing in. Raise your hand if you've come rushing into my office. Like, I'm here. They come rushing in. Maybe there was traffic. Maybe they're just running late or whatever it is. It's like, okay, what do you do with that, right? Because now you have all this energy come rushing in. you know I can read your energy, you know I can feel all this stuff, and we both have to take some time, right? So generally with a client that's just, I could feel all this stuff immediately, I'll give them like, it only takes like 5 minutes, but I'll let them talk to me for 30 seconds explaining, because they feel like they need to explaining why, why I'm not here on time, and then let them get undressed, and then I purposely like take a longer time washing my hands or whatever it is. I give them that space to just like lie down on the table and just decompress and finally arrive. And then I might not even touch them for another few minutes. I might go like do some clearing around them and sage, put some stones on them first and just talk them through that unwinding process. But what do you do if you don't have a guide to do that for you, right? And what do you do with all those waves of emotions as we go through these things that are kind of amping up our system, so to speak? So, before we get into protection, we have to go into slowing down. Oh, I'm looking at the text too. Okay, got it. So when you find yourself, if you're like, finally have that awareness where you're like, okay, I am very defensive possibly, I'm having like mood swings, maybe even my hunger is not satiated, I'm not feeling like I'm on top of it. Hello, Henrietta, how are you? This check-in, you know, we always talk about the check-ins, like doing all these things, and this is why, because we talked about it so many times, Kristen knows that she's like, I need some protective barriers going on, and what do we do for that? Okay, so we go over the normal things, right? We can use sage, we can use so many incense things to clear out and just clear out the excess. You keep your window open as you do it, but it's more of the slowing down. So no matter what tools we're going to talk about, just remember that the intention needs to be there, and really intention is driven by touching base, taking breaths, and slowing down. So protection has everything to do with grounding as well. You really need to do a grounding process before you can even do your protection. Yeah, Jesse's saying singing bowls, absolutely, because singing bowls are clearing the energy and they're also raising your vibration. So they're all intertwined. The grounding, the centering, needs the slowing down, needs the intention, and that's clearing, and then you go into the protection. So let's say that we did all of 3 of those things before we took a few deep breaths. Let's say we saged the area, we lit some candles, whatever it is to slow down, just to touch base with that. And now it's time to do some protection. So can you guys on Zoom maybe name one thing we could do for protecting ourselves?
Up an emotional barrier against everyone.
Yes, put up a great wall all around our beings. Perfect answer.
Don't let anyone in.
Don't let any
Fields up.
Yeah, put the force fields up, exactly. All right, well, let's go with the visual. Hey, Nicole, how about one of my favorite ones is, and we'll use it in the meditation tonight, is, you know, putting white light around you. You'll hear that all the time, right? White light around you. But more than this is that intention. So we don't want a force field per se, right? We want something that's semi-permeable, where we can actually choose what's coming in and what's coming out. So when you're doing energy work, particularly I'll speak for Reiki, you know, no harm can be done. It's only good that can be done. So it's always for the highest good. So if you think like that, it's the same thing for protection, right? We don't want it to be like, well, nobody's going to come in, I'm not going to feel anything. No, we want to be able to choose, like, okay, right now I feel safe, and our chakras do this for us automatically. I feel safe, I will allow this energy in. But you need your chakras to be kind of functioning pretty well, and they have to get used to opening and closing like on their own force, each one of them. So we have imagery, that's a way for protection. We have intention. Hey, Kath. What about stones, right? We use stones for protection. You want to name a couple stones, anything you could think of? Do not give me the silent treatment. You guys know.
No. I'm so bad I never remember what it's called, but the black one, tourmaline.
So yeah, black tourmaline is highly known for its protection, and also obsidian is the same way too, in a sense. Black tourmaline, we think of more protection. Obsidian, I would say, like, grounding as well. Yeah, obsidian, Jesse just said it too. Perfect. Those are great. And really easy to remember. Black tourmaline is a very deep black. Obsidian is usually more polished. Depends, but you can pretty much tell. So those are two great ones. What else? Imagery,
Rose
stones,
quartz.
intention. Rose quartz. So you'll usually see these like all packaged together. You'll see rose quartz, amethyst, black tourmaline, sometimes obsidian, and I feel like I might be missing one. Maybe quartz crystal.
I got lapis in my package.
Yeah, so you can actually buy a packet of like protection stones, and some of them standing alone they don't protect. Like rose quartz is not necessarily a protection stone. The reason it's paired with these other things, just like when you do tarot, you pair it with other cards and they start to mean something else. These stones start to mean like a whole other thing, because whoever first created this thing with the stones, but once the heart is in good shape, right, then it doesn't need that, it's like stronger with the protection, okay? And the protection is stronger with the heart being strong. So they pair them together. They each help each other. But rose quartz would not be a protector like that. It would just be a strengthener for the heart. Anything else? Is that my new tagline? Anything else? What? I'm waiting.
Is tiger eyes a good one too?
Yeah, tiger eye is a strong one because it brings in a lot of masculine energy too. So it's like a big protector like that, like a lot of strength too. That's a really strong one. I actually don't prefer to wear tiger's eye. I don't know, not since I was very young. I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was funny. If you guys think of anything else, let me know. So, of course, in other areas, too, we can do just even, like, salting an area, right? If you want to get even more paganish, we could say graveyard dirt. You would put it in each corner of a house, usually sealed with a penny. Don't ask how I know these things. I just know things. But with the salt, this is a great thing. Oh, you don't like the tiger's eye, Jesse? That's really funny. That's, like, too much for me or something. With the salt, this is an interesting thing because you can do this in offices, and I've actually had like higher ups do this. This is really, really funny. So I'll have them, when everybody leaves, like salt their doorways and like sage the room, and then they just need like 24 hours for the salt to kind of seal in the area, and then they can vacuum up. Nobody will know at all. It's not going to poison anybody, won't do anything harm, and it just kind of keeps your area sacred and so to speak. Elise is here. Wow, what a great night. I bet there's more. So protection, what about the colors? Because that goes with imagery too, but the colors, if we know that the chakras, the 7 main chakras are based with the rainbow, when you do your intention setting and when you do your meditations or anything like that, I always bring in a color, and I'll instruct you later on the meditation to do so. Once you have this type of practice where you're doing a meditation frequently, hopefully even if it's a couple minutes every day, and you have that ability to contact and draw those things in fast, guess what you can do? There's your force field, right? There's your grounding. Everything starts to happen at once, and the colors will start to fly. Kristen, maybe part of it's been because it's just been a lot at once, so it seems like a bombardment. Okay, the other part of protection, don't forget, you have to have your discharging. If you're not discharging, you're just going to get full up. So think of like an overfull cup where suddenly like there's literally no more room, there's no more space, and then the rest of it, yes, carnelian and hematite. Yeah, the hematite's a really good one too, and that's good for blood. And there's no more space, so everything starts to spill over, and then guess what happens with our moods? We're just like, gah! Like, there's no room. So, oh, that's weird, I'm hearing myself on backwards, okay, good. So make sure that if you're starting to sense all these things around you, it's not just the protection, and make sure that you're discharging. So that includes giving yourself enough alone time. And alone time doesn't have to be a full day. It just has to be really quality. And as a mom, I'm like rolling my eyes. I'm like, I don't know what that means anymore. but I take what I can get. And believe me, that's probably why I stay up too late, because I'm just looking for that time to really just sit and not take care of somebody and just focus on myself and just feel all the energy draining. Discharging is a big deal. People don't think it is, but it really is. For example, I have always worked in a place where there were, therapists there, counselors, and anytime I treat a counselor, the craziest thing that happens for me, I can tell when they're not discharging. And I mean, like, really, I can really tell. I'll be like, so after each client, are you washing at least your hands? And they're like, sometimes. And I can tell when they're not. It's like, yeah, even though you're not touching them, you have to have an act of discharging from them. You have to have an act of stopping the flow from their energy to you and vice versa, because otherwise you're really prone to psychic attacks. So people that are in the office space and even virtually, like Kristen's remote, this is important because you have a long day, and like we were talking earlier about how she set her timer, which I love this, set her timer, she gets up for at least once an hour. So she knows she's going to get up, she's going to move around, she's going to stretch. We do this for physical reasons, right? But we also do it for mental reasons. You need a break, and you need your brain space to literally like stop and go focus on something that's not related. But there's other things that are very important too. You still need a discharging throughout the day. You're not around people, but how much more do you have to listen? Like, so much more. When you're in the office, you can get away. There's natural breaks that happen where you don't have to listen as intently, and you don't have to be logged on and in, like, plugged into each other so much. It's just a different way that we socialize. So if you find yourself virtual, there's so many plus sides to that, right? Like, particularly, you can wear something funky like I'm wearing right now and be super cozy, and that's all great. However, you still have to go discharge. Another good example of this is you get a phone call from one of your oldest friends, and this one, she maybe tends to complain a lot or vent a lot or whatever, and it's not really a two-way street, but you love her, she's been in your life the whole, forever. And afterwards, how do you feel? Like, everybody has somebody in their life like this where you're like, oh no, like this might be bad. So what do you need to do after a phone call like that? You have to go discharge. That's just what it is, because you've chosen to allow their energy to come into your own field. And now what do you do with it? You're basically agreeing, like within a contract, to transmute for them and to process for them, because they're obviously not doing it. So if you choose to do that and you choose to stay in a relationship like that, it's okay, as long as you have some clear boundaries where you're like, you know what, I can't take this phone call today, it's too much for me, or you know what, I'm giving them 5 minutes and then I'm gonna give them something to read or do something else with that energy. Then it's cool, because you understand the agreement and it's clear and it makes sense. You have to know that. So those boundaries are so important, and you still, even with those boundaries in place, even if you're a therapist and you have boundaries in place, you still need to have a way of discharging, because that's part of your protection. It's just part of it. They go hand in hand. So we have always the hand washing, and I always remember, I always recommend at least to the elbow and down, because you want a long visual of just draining it all down. Now the psychic protection part. So if here is your third eye, right between the eyebrows, and it goes, it's associated with the pineal gland, there's a physical reason and a spiritual reason that this gets so affected. So another way you can tell that you're having like a psychic protection issue, I don't like to call it all psychic attack, because it's not. You just feel attacked, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's happening. You might be getting more headaches. You might be feeling more sinus pressure. You could even get nauseous, right? What else? Some stomach issues can happen. All these physical things will start to accumulate, and like sometimes they'll come out of nowhere. You'll start tracing your step backwards, like, what did I do? What did I eat? Blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it really is just like the garbage is kind of setting in. Like, so it's like, ugh, and the body's going, okay, there's a toxicity level in my energy system that really needs to be checked out. Playing with a cat is perfect. Hi, I saw that. I don't know what you said, but she's so cute.
Oh, that's a cute girl. You stop brushing her and she nudges my arm.
Henrietta is the most spoiled cat in the whole universe, and we love watching her. She's our little mascot. So this is a good thing to do with your close friends too, because if you're able to do like a protection within your friends group, you'll see that the relationship will start to grow in different ways, and they'll start to flower. You know, how many times did we do stuff in Women's Circle where it was so intimate, and then we like just felt instantly bonded right afterwards, right? Gosh, do I miss that time. So in your life, if you bring in these protection things, it has so much to do with intention, but it really also has to do with your awareness, as always, and how you go throughout your day to create those types of things. So Kristen, my highest recommendation for you is to really, you know, on those breaks, do a little bit of extra. Maybe have more water, you know, wash your hands off, just like dot around the eyes, maybe stroke the third eye, calm that down. You can do a little like clearing off the the seventh chakra, and just, you know, kind of throw it down. This is what I do like during my sessions. You'll see me like kind of fluff it up and then take the excess and like boop. Billy likes to call that flicking, or he's like, are you flicking away my energy? But you can start to yeah, he's like, you flicking me. You'll start to feel that the more you do it, because it is very palpable, actually. It really feels like something. There is a force field around us, and you can feel it. So those little practices, and maybe you'll come up with some more and like share it with us and see what's working for you. But we're almost on time for meditation anyway, so we're going to incorporate a little bit of everything we spoke about. When you use your stones for protection, don't forget, hey, Patricia and Dawn, I like this. I'm seeing the names finally. When you use your stones for protection, don't forget, like, you can make crystal grids and things like that, right? But they do need to be cleared ultimately afterwards. But you're basically doing a programming, and I'm sure at some point I'll teach a whole crystal programming thing. But for tonight, that's good enough.
You can throw them for protection.
You can also, Billy, smashing idea, literally smashing idea. You could throw your stones for protection too. Thank you, everybody. That's Billy Green. That's so funny. So for tonight, we're going to start to get comfortable. We're going to utilize a little bit of everything we just spoke about. Dim your lights. Put some relaxing music on, only if it matches my voice. Thank you. And just hang out.
My bedtime story.
It's your bedtime story.
I got ready for bed.
That's what this is. I am the ultimate bedtime story. So my friends, if you're just joining us, we are so happy to have you, and we're going to focus on discharging with major psychic protection tonight. And we're going to really begin to understand that protection doesn't mean that nothing can get in. It's that we start to have this beautiful energy system around us that is like a transparent and permeable veil or shield, and it allows us to have an innate knowledge of what needs to come in and what needs to go out, and to regulate it better. And that's all we're working on. Okay, and the more you do this, the more you do meditation every day, you'll be able to get here faster and faster. So take your breath. As you begin to allow your body to fully settle into its surroundings, begin with contacting the weight of your head. Your head is a pretty heavy body part. And sometimes it just feels so heavy to hold it, right? So now you're going to really allow it to sink, sink, sink deep down in. All these things that you think about all the time, the thoughts that are just racing, the nagging ones that don't let go, the chitta vritte, the monkey chatter. You just need to acknowledge each thought. And tonight you can assign it a little bubble. And then let the thought just float away. I have rules in my meditations. You're never allowed to punish yourself for being human. Never allowed to take your judgment and let it hurt you or others. What purpose does that serve? So imagine a beautiful healing energy, whether it's me or a parent, even if they're past or not, coming to give you a big, big hug and tuck you in with the blanket. Allow any emotions to arise and then just take a breath with them. Take that moment to realize how beautiful and gorgeous it is to have these emotions. But as you get tucked in, I want you to feel this soft blanket. Maybe it's got a good weight to it so you can feel really, really snuggled in. And then this energy gives you a nice big kiss on the forehead. Everyone needs to feel this type of love on a daily basis. So whether you're a tiny child or a senior or in between, we take these moments. So as you continue to slow down the breath and allow the thoughts to only come to my voice and this listening, this deep, deep listening that's happening in the body. And take note of where your hands are lying. If they're comfortable on your stomach, just lower them a little bit to the belly button area if you can. If they're by your sides, try to keep them palm up so you can receive all the love. But just focusing on being super comfortable, feeling very, very safe, and completely adored. And at the risk of sounding like one of my favorites, Mr. Rogers, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're with me. And then notice what happens in the body as soon as I bring your attention to being with me, being connected. Noticing that there are others doing the exact same thing right now, hearing the same words, the same voice, having their attention drawn to their bodies. Notice what it's like to realize you may not know them, and yet you're still connected. I like to think of energy protection as a conservation system, right? And instead of these shields, they really are like big spheres. I like to use the word magical. We've been using that lately. They're really special. And we're going to focus on building one right now. So imagine yourself seated cross-legged on the great white sands of a beach. Beautiful, empty beach this week. It's really beautiful and it's really empty, and you're the only one there. And this sand is actually kind of cool to the touch. So we're focusing on these sensations first, as this ultimately grounds us. We can use tactile ways to ground us. So you're sitting cross-legged, sand is cool, but very, very soft. You have a very heavy blanket over your lap, and maybe over your shoulders as well. So now we have this sense of gravity being drawn to the earth, to that softness and yet that major firmness that brings our seat bones all the way down. And sitting this way, we'll feel the roots in our system just anchoring down. Now, even in your mind's eye, your eyes will be closed, and you'll get this sense that not only is there space around you, but the air is really clear. The breeze is just ever so slight. You can feel your hair just get a little blown, but there's nothing major happening around you. It's so calm. And the first thing that you'll do is you're going to use your special powers here, and you're going to have your own energy draw a big circle 6 feet away from you. So you don't have to move, but this circle is being drawn around you. You can imagine another energy form, or just your mind doing it for you. But a big circle 6 feet away, you're at the center. You can hear the sand being moved. And when that's complete, you're going to have another circle drawn 6 feet away from that one. So this is way bigger. It will take a few more breaths. And I want you to really notice how your breath is coordinated with this movement, this sand being shifted with the intention of your mind. Take a deep inhalation. Keep the breath at the top for 5 counts. Inhaling all the way up, feeling the body become nice and big and firm with breath, with air. And then with your exhale, just drop your chin slowly down to your chest and release everything down. We're going to have one more circle being drawn. So we have the first, the second, and then there will be a third, 6 feet away from the second. So this one's really wide. Notice if the way you're having the sand drawn is different. Allow the breath to steadily control this circle. Take note of how your body feels as you're allowing this time to happen. You'll notice that you're becoming grounded, even though you're focusing on something completely different than that. I'll take a few more breaths to complete this very, very large circle. Beautiful. So now you have 3 circles in the sand around you. And your inner circle is going to be for the energies that are the safest for you. They're like your inner circle of friends, possibly, maybe your family, but the ones that are the closest to you will feel the safest here. Now, that can always change. We're just giving it an intention for it, okay? And obviously, the second circle is going to be people a little bit more distant from that. And the third is going to be for people even more distant than that. Again, they can always change. But if we have this intention of allowing the ones that we feel the safest, so not necessarily blood relation or whatever, it's the ones that we feel the safest with, their energy will easily permeate through the other outer circles and come to our soul and meet our soul there, right in the center where we are. And then so on and so forth with the other 2 circles. That outer circle, the most outer circle, is going to be for day-to-day contacts and things like that. And it will probably gather the most psychic lint, so to speak. It will become the dirtiest, and it will need the most washing, okay? So now what we're going to do is have one hand come up. We'll take our dominant hand. You don't have to do this for real, but you can just watch yourself do it in your mind's eye. And you're still sitting on that beach cross-legged, white sand around you. You still have these 3 circles, one at 6 feet, one at 12, and one at 18, all around you. And you take your dominant hand with the index finger, and you're going to imagine yourself being able to draw a big semicircle around. So now we're creating half of the circle to complete the inner one, then the second, and then the third. So you'll take time with this. This, since it's not with sand, we're going to do it with air and with intention. And when those 2 are combined, it will look silvery, a little whitish, and pretty sparkly. And make sure you really focus on using that breath to concentrate the density and the continuity of each part of the sphere. So as we pick up speed, you'll be able to do this a little quicker and quicker, but the end result will always need to be the same, where you have these inner spheres. The first one will be a big bubble around you. Don't forget it's going to go under your lower half. And then the second one outside of the first, and the third outside of that. So you have basically 3 giant spheres surrounding you. And their ultimate color will be, like I said, silverish, whitish, sparkly, and really, really pretty, iridescent. And have this beautiful feeling that it's not a wall, it's not this crazy shield. It's just something that we know is there. We're able to contact it easily, and we're drawing with it. So as I speak through this, if you want to really complete anything, you'll notice that it will first look like a grid, each part as you draw it. It's going to be these continuous circles, and they'll keep rotating around until there's an ultimate field or veil or bubble, however you want to see it, whatever rings true to you. I also want you to notice how your third eye area feels right in between the eyebrows, and how right at the top of the crown chakra might feel at this point. When you feel complete with all your spheres, then you can draw your attention just to the sound of the water briefly. So we're practicing on basically maintaining this objectivity with the external spheres that are going to ultimately be our protection. And also on noticing that the water is so close by, and the reason we draw our attention there is because if at any point you feel like one of your spheres has been altered, weakened, dirtied, you're going to take that water, it's going to be the most beautiful blue seawater you could have ever seen, and notice that we're using salt water in this sense, because we're going to use it as a grounding and a clearing mechanism. So let's just pretend that the outer sphere has been sullied and we want to clean it off. So because your intentions are so strong, you're able to basically cipher this water out without any issue. And you're going to watch it just wash over. It's going to come over the biggest sphere and just drop down. You can even control it like rain if you'd like. Whatever is the most comfortable for you, that's what you'll start with, and you can always change it. Remember, there's no rules to how you do these things. It's what works for you. It's just how it is. And the second very important part of cleaning the sphere would be to watch it actually drain back into the earth. And we use sand as the first part of the barrier because it's very permeable and it will take in a lot of water, and then you can actually feel how it would heavily transmute back down into the earth itself. And I like to use sand too because it dries up very easily, so you have this better vision of it allows us to really drain things out, and it heals itself very quickly, so you don't have any, thoughts of guilt around using nature. So I bet you can see all this very clearly. If you can't, you're going to ask me after the meditation to clarify something. So the other part I didn't use too much of, other than giving the directive of what the spheres might look like for you. We're going to finalize this, seal it in with some color, okay? So those are your protective spheres, we'll call it, but also you're going to put into your warmest circle, your first primary circle, the first color of your choosing. So this would be like your familiar color, the one that makes you feel really safe. I could tell you it should be the root chakra, but that's not necessarily true. I'm talking about the color that you're very drawn to. It's probably the chakra that you're, live in generally. And because it's a protective one, we want to use the one that you're comfortable with. It kind of makes sense to do that, right? So whatever color you're drawn to, or shade of it, or version of it, you're going to draw that into the primary sphere. And then see if you can do the same for the second and the third. If you can fill those two up with the next color that you're drawn to, and then the next color that you're drawn to. And this is going to give you some really solid way of envisioning how you're protected, but it's soft protection, you know what I mean? It's not hard, it just feels good. It should feel really good, because ultimately the protection we're looking for is basically going to draw you back into yourself, where you feel safe, loved, confident, grounded, all these happy words that we think of. So your protective spheres are there to preserve this sense of self. So it should feel good and not scary. It should feel really safe. And now let's just throw something fun in there. So maybe you've noticed that when you're feeling stressed out or just want to feel good, you might have like a comfort food, right? Something that you kind of are drawn to. Some people always say like macaroni and cheese for whatever it is, maybe because they were happy when they were a kid when they had that. I want you to put in some of your favorite objects. So it can be a food, it can be an article of clothing, maybe a ring, whatever it is, a picture of somebody, but I want you to draw those into these spheres. And so you can call on them whenever, and they can disappear so everything still looks nice and tidy, but I want you to bring those objects in, because anything that makes you feel safe and happy is ultimately going to protect you as well. Couple more breaths. So if you still see those objects, you know, like I said, we want to keep everything nice and tidy in these spheres. You can just have them absorbed into each area. So just see the color that you chose in the primary sphere and allow that object to kind of just be absorbed into it, so you just know it's there. Great job. Now here's the big thing. We want to take all this with us, but first we're going to bring it into our mind. So I want you to imagine it just being sucked up back into the body, so you can keep it there for a moment. And it might cause you to feel like an expansiveness inside, so notice that too. And now in your next couple of exhales, you'll bring it back outside the body, starting to control that feeling of, okay, here's my home, my primary, here's a little farther out, and just get it bigger and bigger. And that shows you how big the aura and your soul can really drive out that far. So just enjoy that for a moment too. So you're going to very slowly come back into your body. his back, by the hands. Allowing that deep sense of security to finalize in your being for the night. So right before you go to bed, it's perfect time to visualize this getting settled in, getting tucked into bed. That feeling of love. So, I think it would be a good homework for you guys to maybe draw this imagery of the protective spheres. Write about in each sphere what color is there. You could draw the color too, obviously, or what objects you brought in. Maybe who you feel like is in their home chakra, your home sphere. The words that make you feel the safest. All these things, these are all really, really important to know. And then to practice it. So the biggest homework after that would be to practice this a couple of times a day. Maybe, like 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I'm giving you random times. Just to start have this imagery over and over again, where you see the drawing in the sands, the spheres starting to connect, and basically this magical gridding that you're doing all around yourself. And then see how you feel. Oh, Jessie, I love that. She said her 4th grader said, whoa, I can see it. Yeah, they have that sight already in there, and we just have to talk about it. So I do that with my daughter at night sometimes, especially if she's anxious, and she knows now to tell me, Mommy, can we draw some rainbows? You completely passed out. Perfect. So just listen to it again another time. So whatever you're feeling, like, you have to just keep contacting this. I'm going to say that over and over again because it's so important. People are like, how long should I meditate for? I'm like, you just do it. Even if it's a couple of minutes a day, you just keep doing it because it's an important muscle to keep practicing with. So tonight's meditation, again, was focused on protection and discharging and all those things. They come together. They're all together, all these crazy words that we use all the time. So this imagery, really, really important, and I can't wait to hear how you're using it, and see if you can draw it to somebody else and help them with your artwork and help them telling the story about how you can have this, permeating force around you and still be completely loved and completely safe and help others with it too, okay? So if you ever need help teaching or talking about it, I am here, and I hope your experience tonight was great. And if you want to hang out and hear what happened with others on my friend's Zoom or whatever, you're welcome to do that. I'm going to shift over to my Zooms for a couple minutes. Who's awake? Anybody? Anybody?
Me.
Me. Hi, me.
Hello.
Hello. So how beautiful were your spheres?
Oh, they were lovely.
I imagine that they were really pretty, and I see a really pretty light pink for yours. Did you have pink in yours?
I did. Like a shell pink.
Yeah, like super, super pretty, soft. I can see that.
Yeah. And I hate the color pink, but it just showed up, so I went with it.
Yeah, it was. I can see it, like really, really soft, almost peachy. Pretty.
Yeah.
That's cool. Nene and her kitty cat. Hey, kitty cat, did you see anything? Oh, there you go. Come back.
She was definitely listening to me.
Yeah, I know. She's gonna end up being trained by my voice, just like Carrie's dog is. That will be my special thing in the world, where I can train the animals over Zoom or whatever. That's so funny.
I have to be up at 5 tomorrow, and I am tired. I'm in a good place, so I'm gonna head out.
Good.
But everyone, have a good week, and I'll see you maybe next Sunday, right?
All right. Love you, Billy.
Game night. Game night.
He can. He's working.
And,
That's okay.
Yeah.
Use your sleepiness. Go to bed.
we'll do it. We'll do it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night, bud. Okay.
Look at that pretty girl.
So, Kristen, thank you for giving me a topic. And thank goodness I can do that on the fly sometimes. So that's good.
It was a good I needed it. So honestly, it was the end of my massage when I remembered that,
that you were really
to tell
feeling
you
that.
about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's a good practice too, because I forget. I mean, I naturally have that, but like I didn't have enough time today to discharge between people at all. And when that happens,
I don't know how you could have.
no, and when
I don't
that
know how you
happened at
could've.
the
I
office,
it was so crazy between me
Yeah.
and the next person. It was
yeah, I never have
Sorry,
overlap like
being
that.
click,
I
click,
know. So I was grateful for
click,
that
click,
too.
click, click, click.
Click. Somebody, I can't describe it on Zoom or Facebook, whatever. It's okay. We had something happen at the office that it disrupted my day, but it's okay. So that imagery is like really, really important. And
What's something I actually thought?
oh, you froze. What, babe? What'd you say? You thought what?
No, I just said I thought something in the building. I thought something in the building was wrong.
Yeah. So I just came up with the extra spheres, and I like that actually, because it really makes me think of like a nucleus, and then like all these other movements around it where, the rest of it really is external, and like how far somebody can come into that depends on how safe you feel with them. And sometimes it's your closest friends and family, and sometimes it's not, and that's fine. But I think it will help teach our systems to not completely shut down, which, by the way, is what will generally happen with the chakras, is that, if you're not practicing opening them and closing them, like if you're not consciously doing that, and how do I mean that? I mean that if you have a full day of work and then you're not focusing on discharging, and you're not focusing on just doing your self-care practices, your chakras will start to go like, I'm not safe, and one by one they just start to like stay in this closed position. So then when we do good things like yoga and meditation and singing and all this stuff, they do start to open, or we start to do chakra meditations. But it's like another muscle. Like, you have to keep working them out. And like, you guys know this, right? If we don't do that, we'll start to get like really closed down. So I think tonight's visualization is really perfect for remembering that we have these awesome layers and this ability to not let everything.
You have to step up your self-care practices so that you can, because sometimes it's not enough to just open and close them.
Oh,
I feel like
no.
Some days my regular practice just isn't cutting it.
Oh, no, definitely. No, and that's why we talk about the toolbox all the time, because if you go through your toolbox and like it's still not enough, like you need external help, right? This is when we really go for like, I need a treatment, I need to call a friend, I need to ask for help. Thank you for saying that, because that's really true, and especially, obviously a reflection of what's going on or not going on in the world, and how we are processing it, because like things can happen 4 months ago and we're still like finally getting to process it now, right? And how many times has that happened with grieving? Hello, like we know this. Well, I was so-and-so passed away, and then I didn't get to grieve them because I was distracted by somebody else or whatever it was. Like I had to take care of someone else. Like that happened to me. So all these things, there can be a delayed everything. And then we have to like really go, you know what? This self-care is not working enough. Like I really need extra help. But you're not going to realize that unless you're having that, that mindfulness about you where you're seeing like, you know what, I am kind of nasty right now, or I am really triggered by everything. Like, what am I going to do about that? So it's good to be human. It just got to be a better human and bring that awareness to everything. So thank you guys so much for joining and staying. Every week we're just looking for more new people just to share all the love. So please share. Vanessa M, Meyer LLC, Facebook. I'm on Instagram too, but these meditations are only on Facebook. Sorry. That's what it is for now. But don't forget, you can tell people they can join Facebook secretly and only join for this. And that's fine. I don't care what name they put on there. So all my love, have a fantastic week, and enjoy the hard stuff and enjoy the good stuff. And if you need help with any of it, we're here. Talk to us. All my love. Bye.